Okay, so something I completely forgot to mention in the tutorial because I do this a lot. So if you're new to if you're new to custom depth passes, like which are used in a lot of post-processing materials, especially with outlines. Actually, I think it's used in almost every outline material I've ever made. So all you do is just search up custom depth path on whatever mesh you want. If you uncheck it, the aura won't appear. If you click here, check it, we'll get Ultra Instinct Wall. So yep, just keep that in mind whenever you're doing this tutorial. Okay, now on to the tutorial. Okay, now it's time for me to make the tutorial that I've been getting a lot of requests for on my Instagram, email, and maybe 1 or 2 YouTube comments. So I've been really hesitant on making this Ultra Instinct tutorial because first of all, I don't fully understand how the actual shader works per se. A lot of it is just hacked together. And 2, most of it is based off another tutorial that I found, which is in Portuguese, and then I just tried to replicate it and then understand and then recreate it. I'll put a link to that tutorial in the description. Yeah, but most of it is just based off that. Okay, so I'll just get started. This is also going to be another post-processing material. So pp underscore aura ultra instinct underscore. We'll do 3. Well, 1 for the core. So that nice blue element you see around them. Let me underscore make an instance. Let's add this to our post-processing material, our post-processing volume, and asset reference, and we can just drag that on here. Boom, and here. So first you just get started, make this post-processing, and we'll just work on our fundamentals. First, get our scene texture. We'll get our post-processing input of 0. Get masked the color of RGB, and we'll lerp it. So yep, plug this into that. Now we'll just make a color vector of, we'll just call this color. This will be the color of the aura you want. If I plug this into B, yep, and then the color I had was .323, and G will be 0.797, blue will be 9, so it'll be 0.927. And yeah, this is the color I had. So from here, let me just get rid of this one. I was just doing this one testing. Our goal is now to get this color to hover around our character only and not just the world. So to do that, we'll just, similar to how I did a spear mask in my hand-drawn outline tutorial, we'll play with the alpha. So most of this is done using our custom node, which will write a lot of HLSL, which is high level shader language here. So first of all, we'll need to output a float 1. We'll need 5 inputs. So 1, 2, 3, yep. Our first one, we'll call it max distance. So how far do we want this shader to be seen from before we render it out? We'll need the UVs. We'll need our radius. Steps, which I'll explain later. Steps and radial steps. Where I cannot spell radial today. Steps. Oh wait, there's no I after the first A. Yep. And then for here, we'll now get started on most of our code. So for starters, we'll need a reference to pi. So we'll make a static constant float of pi. Oh yeah, I'll make another video explaining how I think this actually works. Otherwise, I don't want this video to get too bulky. And yep, so this video will be more for code along. 6, 5, 3, 5, 9F. Yep. And also do shift enter if you want to go down rather than just enter. Enter just compiles it. Then we'll get an int cd index, which will be equal to 13. And I will explain what that is now. So if we go to, if we get our scene texture, oops, wrong one. Scene texture. If you go on this here, scene texture ID, so if color is 0, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So our custom depth is listed as 13 as its reference number. So we're just going to use it here. We're just going to store it as 13 as a variable for now. Then we'll actually clamp our values for steps and radial steps. So first for steps, we'll clamp it between, and actually first let me type this in. We'll floor it first. Between, so we'll floor the initial value of, did I call it steps or step? Yeah, I called it steps, not step. Step. I'll close this bracket for good habits, and we'll clamp it between 1 to 8. And now I'll do the same thing for my radial steps. There you go. And if you click out of it, click back in, the code, pretty much the code part has now expanded. So if you have, you can add comments to the side, and we'll just, instead of just having to ask her, you get the point. Okay, so now we'll make two variables for step size. Step size. Oh, and another float for, actually wait, it's just pretty much going to be the same thing, so I'll just copy and paste it afterwards. So for step size we'll get the radius divided by our steps. And then no. So for comment wise, so this is the step size needed to get from the center to the edge of the shape. Click out, click back in, and if I drag this out a bit, click out, and there, it's a lot neater. So if we do the same thing for our radial steps, so if I call this radial step size, which is equal to our so okay, so yeah, this will be pi times 2 divide by our radial steps, and this will be the step size needed to needed to get around the object. If you remember from high school where what's called, I think it was 2r, 2 pi r is equal to our circumference, or is it 2 pi r squared? I'll fix that up in my explanation video. And now we'll need a blank variable just called result, which is what we're going to be outputting, and we'll just initialize that to 0. And now we'll have a for loop for int I is equal to 0, I is gonna be less than or equal to steps. So keep doing this until that condition's false. Then we're just going to increment I just like any for loop. So, and let me just close the bracket for good fucking hell. Good coding habits. Where did that go? Screw it. So here, now I'll just make another variable called which is going to be our current step. So just keeping reference of where we're currently at. Current step is equal to I step size int. So we're gonna have another for loop called int I equals 1. Sorry, that's int j. Actually, wait, we don't actually need to start from 0 for either of these loops. We can just start straight from 1, so you can just skip that one step of 0. Just from testing, I found it kind of useless. So we'll get our radial steps. Oh yeah, this is only when it's less than. Float angle j, so j is going to be times our radial step size, and we'll just output a float 2 of coordinate, so chord, so it should be the float 2 will be equal to, I honestly wish this was just called vector 2, it would make so much more sense. So the first value is it's just gonna be, we're just gonna get the cos of the angle, and for the second part we're gonna get the sine of our angle. And then we're gonna multiply our supposed vector by the current step plus our UV, which we'll input later. And then we get another just float of, and we're gonna call it sample equal to, okay, so this is gonna be a mouthful. The function we're gonna have to be used is called scene texture lookup, which pretty much is what I was using before. However, since 4.19 they didn't update this, they didn't update all the functions, so you need to use this other function called viewport UV to scene texture UV. Honestly, I completely got lost here. Like, I wasn't able to find any documentation on this one function. I was able to, I do understand scene texture lookup, but I wasn't able to find much on this. So if you do have any good documentation explaining how this works, view UV to scene texture UV, please link it in the comments below. And as I saw one comment that had an issue where like my aura would be far away from the character, this is how you fix it, more or less. So you just go here, let's input our coordinate and our CD index as we referenced earlier, and now we'll call our CD index again, and oops, that was problematic. We'll call our CD index again, and we'll set our filtering to false, and then once again a semicolon. So that should be that, and now we'll just get an, actually now we'll just add to our results for every instance of this for loop. So max distance minus clamp sample 0 to between max distance, and then we're gonna divide that by our max distance, and then over here we can just finally return our float one. So return float one, which will be our result divide by radial steps times steps. Alright, I'll just make add another bracket here just to make it neater, and output, click out of it, click back in, and yeah, this is pretty much all the HLSL will need for this function. No, sorry, for this shader. I'll link it all in the description if you're too lazy to type it yourself. So okay, now we'll make our variables, so our parameters. So first max distance, which for testing I just kept it 10,000. You can plug this into max distance. UV, you use oh yeah, screen, it was called screen position, not screen position. UV, sorry, viewport UV, not viewport UV screen position. And then for radius, we'll need another function called scene textile size, and we'll multiply it by our intended radius. And I'll make this S radius, which defaulted I gave a value of 52, and steps I gave a value of 5, and just duplicate this for the same and just call that radial steps with the same radial steps. So plug this in here, and this is pretty much it, except we just need to get a mask and just get the red value, and then we'll multiply this by this. So we'll first get our custom depth. Make sure you get the where's it, wait, oh yeah, I just referenced it, 13 custom depth. Don't get scene depth, otherwise you'll have issues where, actually I'll show you what happens, to be honest, what happens if you use scene depth. So scene depth, and then you'll minus, but make sure you use custom depth. I just wanted to show you what goes wrong. We'll, wait, what? Oh yeah. Oh right, I had two C's here. That's why I couldn't get the. Wait, what? Oh, far out. Oh, it's seal, not sealy. I don't know why I was thinking that. And I have to get the red mask of this, I just realized, so. Otherwise, I'll get an error. Oh yeah, you first need to, actually wait, I'll show you what happens first. Plug this into this, and let's plug, oh, oops. Now let's plug this into our alpha. Okay, so I found my two bugs. One was I forgot to add a semicolon to my very first variable. And two is because I declared this off a type float, I have to make the add a decimal, so that just be 0.00. If I hit apply, and that should be that. So this is what happens now, right? So it's getting the red mask, but it's a bit too strong at the moment. So we would actually, so it'd be best for us just to clamp it. So if I clamp this here and here, now we don't see our effect. So this is what happens if you were to use your scene. So as you could see our effect a bit, right? So if you use scene depth, you can see it's pretty much drawing on anything that's not touching, that doesn't have a background object behind it. So to fix that issue, all we do is switch this to custom depth, which was a bug I had when I was first working on it, which if you were doing it on your own, you might want to do scene depth because you'd be going off the center of your object. So if you use custom depth, it's pretty much, now we have this nice glowing outline. So now we just need to get our aura to start panning. So to do that, all we need is this. So let me comment this up. Aura outline. So to pan, all we need is this. We'll have to multiply this by another function. So we'll first get our texture sample. So by default, the engine already has a good good tiling noise frequency, which pretty much is like this. I think this is the high frequency one. Yep. So use this. Let's first plug this into here. If we hit apply, we can now see our aura starts a bit breaking, like it looks as if it's steaming off our character. So now we'll focus on the movement. So all we need here is a panner node, plug it into UV, set our X speed 2.1, multiply, we'll get our texture coordinates of 0. And noise tiling. So wait, our noise tiling, I will set it to 2. And another node will need an append vector, so which will have for our speed, and our 2 inputs will need another variable called noise speed of b, so that'll be our speed across the y-axis, and I set this to 0.25, and our x we can just set it to 0. Otherwise, you can, if you're gonna have a constant speed, then you can just use straight up use a 2 vector and plug it into speed. But yeah, in case I want to edit in the future. So this is pretty much it for the panning effect. So if I hit apply, and there you see now we can start seeing our beautiful aura. Okay, now it's time for the part that I'm not really that proud of, to be honest. So how I did my Ultra Instinct effect from here was just this. I made 2 duplicates. Actually, I'll call the first one outer, and I'll call the next one white. Actually wait, no mind, I just duplicated the material I already had pre-made. Never mind. Let me actually go back to my tutorial ones. Okay, now it's time for the part that I'm not too proud of. So how I got the Ultra Instinct aura from here was just this. I made 2 duplicates, one called outer and one called white, which had that nice beautiful white outline you can see around Goku when he first does Ultra Instinct. Now we'll create our respective instances. So why we need multiple rather than just using instances is to get them layered properly. So for our core, you go to blendable priority and set this to 1. For outer, I set it to 0, because for the further away it is physically from the character, the lower its number should be. So what that means, so it's pretty much the white outline, then it's our blue, then it's the nice purple. So that means the white, because it's the closest, it has the highest number, so we'll set our white to 3. So if we go here, white will be 3, apply, and now we'll just go to our instances of, wait, so core, wait a minute, did I, far out, did I actually do, so let me just make an outer material instance. So for my outer one, the variables I had for color were 0.283, 0.112, and for blue I had 0.563. Oh, and alpha should be 1 for all. Unintended reference. So noise speed I had as 0.16 or 0.16 if you want to get picky about it. Noise tiling I had just 3. Radio steps 6. Radius was 25. And steps I had as 8. For white, all should just be 1, 1, 1, 1. Noise speed 0.05. Noise tiling will be 1, because this one you don't really see the tiling that often. Radio speed was by average, and radius is the only other variable you change. Radius is just going to be 5. So if I go to my core, I'll just set this to 1. Hit save all. And now I'll show you how I got it on my character. Made 2 more elements, both asset references. You can put in any order because the blendable priority is more or less what determines it. So we'll get our outer instant and we'll get our white. Wait, something's... And if I hit save, actually something's wrong here. The core. Oh wow. Oh wait, sorry, just one basic mistake I forgot to make. So from color, all we do is multiply, add S, brightness, I just set it to 5. So just do this with all your, so if you do this with all of your materials, your aura should start looking a bit more like this. So you can see the purple a bit more. If you just play with the numbers, you'll pretty much get the effect you want. So I think I need to get my outer number a bit higher. So let's just boost my outer radius. And there, that's generally the effect I had for Ultra Instinct. Hope you enjoyed. Leave a comment if you leave a comment if you have any questions, and do subscribe to the channel that I actually found most of my things on, which is this guy here, Rodrigo. Rodrigo Villani, if I pronounce his name right. So I do recommend subscribing to him, honestly. And that should be it. I'll see you guys in part 2.